Welcome to another RSR. Tonight I'm previewing and predicting the 2024 Telus Canadian Championship Final. Vancouver Whitecaps FC versus Toronto FC. We have a final. We have it Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. There you go. Big game. The winner goes to CONCACAF. The loser, probably, unless if Vancouver wins, then somehow wins MLS Cup, has no chance of going to the CONCACAF Champions Cup because, frankly, it's more likely Toronto loses, and I don't see them winning MLS Cup. So, even if they did make the playoffs. So, with that being said, we shall see how this match goes, but Toronto FC are up against it. They have not won the CONCACAF spot for Canada since 2020 for the 2021 CONCACAF Champions League. They won the Canadian Championship replay for that 2020 year in 2022. Thank God they did that, because if they didn't, there would be a lot of talk saying, oh, they didn't deserve that CONCACAF spot because they got handed it. Then they lost the trophy a year later from when the tournament proceeded. We got screwed. Let's remember, Forge were very close to qualifying for CONCACAF that 2021 year. So there was definitely probably going to be a lot of talk if Toronto screwed that up. But they have not won a proper Canadian championship since 2018. And they have a lot of pressure behind them. A lot of pressure behind them because they've been playing better recently, I think. I think they have been, at least had more fight recently. The problem is that fight hasn't totally converted into wins, converted into results. Do I think Toronto are better than what they were earlier this year when they lost to Vancouver 4-0 at BC Place? Yes. Do I think Vancouver at times are shakier? Do I think they're fraudulent at times? Yes. Did they both lose their most recent game while rotating their sides? Yes. Vancouver on paper, I wouldn't say on paper. I would say actually performance-wise is the better team right now. I will give Vancouver that. I think right now performance-wise they're playing in a harder conference. They have better wins. They have more points. They are 2 points or 2 games in hand on Toronto. They are better. They are better. And I gotta say, I'm not very happy with how this game could go. The fact it's in Vancouver, the second in 3 years of playing the Vancouver Whitecaps in Vancouver for the Canadian Championship Final. So I'm not happy with that. I don't exactly like what that looks like. I don't exactly like how that seems. Vancouver's definitely they've hosted 3 Can-Champ finals in a row as well since they beat Toronto. The 2 they've won, they've hosted, and this year, of course, going for a 3-peat, they've hosted. I think if you're the Can-Champ champion, you get a little bit more of a favoritism. I know there's a draw, but who am I kidding? I think there's still a little bit of favoritism there. If Toronto was the champion, I think, honestly, they'd be hosting. I honestly think the Canadian champion gets a little bit more favoritism than the challenger. I think that's always been the case. Now, with that being said, the way I see this game, I see it being tough. I think Toronto will step up. I think Oso will be back. I really think he will. I don't think he'll miss a cup final. I think Insigne will be back. I think Bernadeschi will play 90 minutes. I think Lorea's going to play 90 minutes. I think Gomes will be back. I think Long will start. I think they're going to try to put on their best group. I think Toronto will try to put on their best group, or at least the best group they can muster with the 3 Canadian rule, which I think that means DeAndre Kerr starts. If Lorea and Oso are starting, that would mean I think DeAndre Kerr starts. But you know what? I wouldn't complain about that. I'd rather have him start over Owusu in my opinion. I think that's where Herdman's been going recently anyway, which I think that's the right move. So that's fine by me. So that's 3 Canadians. I think Coelho will start. I think they'll find a way to get him in there and start him. Davy Flores probably would start as well. I think Toronto will play their best 11 for the most part. And I honestly think that Toronto can win this game. I think people are counting them out a little bit. If Toronto plays their best level of football, I think they can win this match. I really do. Vancouver, yes, they're playing very well right now. I think if they play their best 11 with Gould, Armstrong, Brian White, Ali Ahmed, Atakubi, if they play their best team, yeah, this will be a really tough match. And I never thought it wouldn't be. I know this match is going to be tough for Toronto, and it's going to be tough for Vancouver. It's going to be very tight. And straight to penalties after 90 minutes, I think, is the rule still for the final. I think it is. I could see this game going to penalties. I could see this game going to penalties. I don't know why it wouldn't, frankly. I think this game will go to penalties. I think this trophy will be decided on penalties. I think overall, I think it's going to be a 1-1 game after 90 minutes. I think Toronto will defend very well. I think they'll actually get the first goal. I think Toronto will actually get the first goal. But late on in the second half, Vancouver's going to press for that equalizer, and they get it. Probably 85th minute, Toronto doesn't have time to really bounce back and respond and win by 2-1. We go to penalties. I think that's exactly what we're going to get. I think we're going to get a penalty shootout on Wednesday night. And for me, I think Toronto's going to win the shootout. I think Sean Johnson will make some saves. If you could get it to a shootout, I mean, they did beat Red Bulls in the shootout. Sean Johnson made some saves there. I think Sean Johnson is a better keeper at making penalty saves than Takaoka. I think that's where they're going to go. I don't think they're going to put Isaac in goal for Vancouver. I think it will be Takaoka. I think you're going with your best 11 plus 3 Canadians. I think Toronto can meet that a lot easier with their best 11, but Vancouver might have to just pull some strings to make that work. I know they have Atakubi. They have Ahmed. But after that, you kind of have to pull a string or two. We'll see where that goes. But I think Toronto will win on a penalty shootout. I think 1-1 after 90. I think we'll go to a penalty shootout. I think Sean Johnson will make enough saves to win us a trophy. I wouldn't say single-handedly because the players still have to score their penalties, but Cozy Thompson, if he's in the shootout, that's a locked-on penalty because he's good at scoring penalties. That's the one thing he's really good at. I think Cozy Thompson will make his way into the match, especially if we're on that precipice. I think we all can see it. I think Bernadeschi will score his penalty. I think Insigne will score his. I don't know where else they're going to go after that. But I think Sean Johnson will make enough saves to save Toronto and win us the Voyageurs Cup. 5-3 on penalties. It's going to be a position where we have to score 5. No. 4-3 on penalties. Or 6-5, actually. I was running through the math in my head. That doesn't make any sense. 4-3 or 6-5 on penalties to Toronto. One of the two. But Toronto will get it done, I think. I think they will end up getting it done on penalties by the skin of their teeth. I think it's going to be a tight match. Legitimately, I think it's going to be a tight match. I think they'll get it done, though. Toronto FC will win the Voyageurs Cup for the first time since 2018. For a proper tournament, the first time since 2020, when it comes to doing some scoreboard window dressing. Is what I like to call that one. So, I think Toronto will get it done. And you could say, but Ryan, you gotta give more respect to Vancouver. I did. I think Vancouver is a very good side. I think they're a tough side. It's at their house. I'm not saying giving them no respect to be like, we're going to do the opposite of what happened to us back in April and 4-0 them in their own house. That's not what I was saying. What I was saying is Toronto will play tough. They're going to give this game everything they got. And I think if they do, this game does have a better chance to go Toronto's way. Not in regular time, but in penalties. I think it can go their way. And I believe that. With that being said, let me give some quick predictions of the other two Cup finals on Wednesday. The Campeones Cup and Open Cup, because somebody asked me, and I thought it'd be better to do it at the end than the start, because then I guess it's false advertising. But for me, I got Columbus beating Club America in the Campeones Cup final, 3-1. 3-1 for Columbus Crew. I got LAFC beating Sporting Kansas City 4-0 in the Open Cup final, because there's no way Sporting Kansas City wins that. So, our Cup winners on Wednesday will be Toronto, Columbus, and LAFC, which I think that's a pretty good cadre to pick. But there you go. Say, if you want to make that a parlay, go right ahead. But with that being said, I will see you tomorrow for a live watch-along and review of Antigua GFC versus Deportivo Saprissa in the CONCACAF Central American Cup quarterfinal first leg. It's here. The knockouts of the Central American Cup are here. We're ready to go. We'll be live for it. 2 lives on Wednesday, of course, the Campeones Cup live. Then the Canadian Championship Final live and RSR when it comes to Toronto versus Vancouver. Thursday will be live for another Central American Cup game. And that's it. So, review that as well. So, 4 streams, 3 reviews over the next 3 days. There's that. Friday's off. Saturday, Toronto plays again. I will see you later. I'm Ryan and I'm out. Peace. Good luck to both teams. May the best team win. And hopefully I'm not sad on Wednesday night. There you go. Peace.